with Zebby Matthews making his big league debut. What is this? Tuesday night, the Twins put more distance between themselves and the Royals. Meanwhile, the Guardians are back to never losing again. Never mind that. Let's get locked on Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to destination for the best Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. A reminder, too, that the Locked On Twins podcast is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which brings you your team every day, and that team is the Twins, and I'm your co-host, Dave Brown. I've been in the BBWAA since 2012 and a professional ball writer of some sort since 1998. And across cyberspace, the cyberspace aisle from me is Brandon Warren, who also has bona fides. Brandon, tell them.
I've been watching the Twins since 1993, which if you're not that a person of that age, just know that in 1991, the Minnesota Twins won the World Series. And in 1992, they were in the race until I think Eric Fox ruined it for them. And then 1993 happened and then everything went to the pits. And that's when I started watching the Twins. So I've been watching them for over 30 years, covering them for about half that long. And my story with the Twins is long and varied, and I love telling it to you all every single day.
So just about the time you showed up, they started losing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. By the way, quickly, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100.
A lot of strong performances came in a 13-3 victory for the Twins Tuesday night against the Royals. But the man of the hour is rookie right-hander Zebby Matthews, Daniel Zebulon Matthews. He was in high A 3 months ago, and now he's pitching in the majors in a pennant race. That's pretty neat. 2 earned runs allowed, 5 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, no walks, which is kind of his calling card. Mm-hmm. His fastball averaged 95, and he got 11 called strikes with it. I saw some stats that said he didn't necessarily throw as many strikes as he could, but sometimes you don't want to throw strikes, like you said, in the major leagues. You want to get him to chase. Whatever he was doing, it looked really impressive. He looked, the Twins have used David Festa, and they've used Louis Varland as rookies in the rotation this year. And I don't know if Zebby has better stuff than Festa, but he looks a little more refined, a little more ready for his moment. And Festa's results have been improving too. If the Twins could get Festa and Zebby going through the last 6 weeks of the season, it would be pretty good. As far as you can tell, Brandon, what's your first impression?
I think it goes to show that you always say to raise a child that it requires a village. Same with pitching rotation stuff. You can't mass produce Brad Radke's like the Twins tried to do after the fact with Scott Baker and Kevin Slowey and Nick Blackburn. And I mean, the list goes on, and it didn't work out. And not that doesn't mean that maybe there was some good decisions made in the process, but you got to have guys that'll come up and, maybe one can't hit the broadside of the barn, but throws 99, and another is 92 with a really good changeup, and another is 93, but he hides the ball well. And so the fact that nothing really unifies these guys in terms of common characteristics probably plays not only in the favor of the Twins over the long term, but also shows that they can evaluate different types of pitchers and kind of project, 7 feet tall and a big old beard Bailey Ober who throws 92 can be good. And so can Zebby, who walks nobody and throws a little harder. And so can Festa, who does this. And so can, Andrew Morris, who had a really good debut with the Saints. Like it's all different types. And it really just goes to show the beauty of the baseball where, a guy built like me and a guy built like, I don't know, who's one of this, Alcides Escobar back in the day, super skinny guy or something. They can both have a seat at the table. And I think that's what I love most about the game is come one, come all, and you have a chance.
That's beautiful, Brandon. I didn't expect you to go into like a poetic
existential.
oh my goodness, I love baseball even more. I agree with you 100% about what you just said.
My love
You
letter.
mentioned that he doesn't walk anybody, Zebby, and he really doesn't. I mean, he didn't walk anybody tonight, and he has only 22 career walks as a professional in 205 career innings coming in. That's nuts, and it's hard to necessarily make that continue to play in the major leagues, but when because these guys, can hit basically anything. But when you throw as hard as he does and you locate as well as he does, he was using the corners great. His first strikeout was against Bobby Witt, and Bobby Witt, he'll strike out a little bit, but he was throwing 93-mile-an-hour cutters in the corner, and it was just it was kind of an eye opening. Like, oh, wow, this is what Zebby Matthews can do. That was a fun way to start. He had a good first inning, and then the Twins offense got to Seth Lugo. He had I was mistaken. I thought maybe the Twins had beaten the Royals in one of Lugo's starts, but they didn't really get to him. It was kind of after he left earlier the season. I think Lugo came in and had allowed one earned run, I think, in 2 games against the Twins, but they got to him. Some bad defense too, but for 3 runs right away, and it just changes the whole outlook on a game when even though Zebby had a good first inning, the offense just jumps on Lugo. It changes the calculus. It changes the feeling. It's something that we kind of wish the Twins would do more often. It seems like they get behind, a couple of runs before they score, but that's really great for the offense to continue to, against a good pitcher, put up a bunch of runs.
Yeah, MLB's best scoring offense from innings 7 on in baseball, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have the best raw run total and maybe the best differential. I want to focus too on. Oh, by the way, Lugo threw 8 different pitches tonight based on Statcast. Savant's listing. I want to read this off just because I was thumbing through it here while you were soliloquying, as old Dusty Rhodes used to say. 4-seam fastball, sinker, curveball, slurve, changeup, splitter, slider, sweeper. He threw all of those more than 4 times. So, there can be pitch misclassifications, or the algorithm gets a little funky here or there. But he was giving the Twins everything they could handle, and they were like, nah, whatever, bro. And also, too, I wanted to look into the idea. Zebby had 6 swinging strikes on 77 pitches. Now, 6 out of 77, so you're well under 10%. It's only a 1-start sample. It's a first big league start. We're not trying to make anything out of it more than it is. But I feel like if there is a type of pitcher that could be better than their swinging strike rate is, it's someone with razor good, razor thin command or razor precise command. And especially too, if he can locate that cutter to where maybe he backdoors it on left-handed hitters, there's going to be a lot of called third strikes that should keep his strikeout rate more than respectable, in addition to not walking anybody. I mean, maybe like a Phil Hughes, where you strike out 8 per 9 and walk 1.5 or something. You can still be plenty good without striking out a guy per inning if it comes to it.
That's a pretty interesting comparison, Phil Hughes. I kind of like it. His fastball averaged 95. I think I mentioned he got 11 called strikes with it. That doesn't necessarily count the cutters too, but that's sort of what you're saying, that if you're able to paint, that's going to give you a leg up in this league, and if you're able to be that good with your command. Now he gave up a home run. He kind of gave up actually, I didn't think it was that bad a pitch to MJ Melendez. It looked like he jammed him or almost jammed him a little bit, but it was just a little too much out over the plate. And that was one of the runs that he gave up on a home run. Zebby kind of maybe came in too with a reputation for being a little vulnerable to the home run, but that also could be statistical noise at this point. But he gave up one. Yeah.
I know MJ Melendez stinks, but man, when I look at him, I see a ball player. I keep thinking there's something there.
He's been better lately. He's been he's incredibly streaky. He started the season incredibly not doing anything, and he's been better lately. The Twins have some players like that too, so they know how it goes.
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit more about the offense when we come back from our break, I guess.
Yeah, let's take a quick breather and come back, because what a night at the ballpark. Anytime you win by 10 runs, there's plenty to talk about. So pitching, hitting, you name it, we'll talk about it here when we come back. Have you tried Liquid IV yet? Because if you haven't, I highly recommend it. I've been having this in the house. In fact, I got a shipment today. It was crazy. I ordered it and it showed up within 2 hours. And I can't give credit to Liquid IV for that, but I can give credit for how quickly it gives me the hydration I need. Just need a 16-ounce bottle of water and a tube of Liquid IV, and you are good to go. It's not like those other hydration people where you got to carry the big bottles around and stuff. It's super transportable. It's super easy. And they've got so many flavors. I personally like the popsicle firecracker. I got to get the words in the right order. It's a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon, lime, tart cherry, and raspberry. But there's a acai berry, lemon lime, pina colada. My wife even brought home pear one of these last times that she bought it. You just tear, pour, and live more. Like I said, one stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone. It's powered by the Liquid IV Hydra Science that is the optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients, which turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. There's 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. It's always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. And our friends at PrizePicks want you to know that they are America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS because unlike other sports apps, it is just you and the numbers. So you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. You want to play things risky. You want to play things close to the vest. You have options. You can even do something in between, mix and match, easy for me to say, your demon and goblin picks, and get those multipliers going. If you want to put down $10 and go real risky, they'll get you up to 100 times your money, but you really got to get risky. But that'd bring home $1,000. So it'd be pretty great to hit on that. But again, the multipliers, will go as high or as low as your risk tolerance is. Finals and Olympics over, but still hoops going on. We've got women's hoops still going crazy with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, all kinds of different stars who have been just tremendous. And I watched that gold medal game in the Olympics, and seeing that French girl hit that shot at the buzzer beater and know that she had hit a 2 and she needed a 3. Boy, that was heartbreaking. But you could win up to 100 times your money watching the WNBA gals ball out. PrizePicks available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia. Got to check it out. Download the app and see if your state is one of them. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and they'll give you a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
The Royals not doing. I can imagine the Royals fans right now are kind of a little perturbed or a little off-put by what's gone on in the series so far, especially tonight with really a 13-3, almost a non-competitive game. I don't know if the Royals gave up or anything, but the Twins brought in some of their lesser relief pitchers after Zebby, and not much was going on. Okert gave up a home run right away to Salvador Perez, but other than that, not much going on there. The Royals now 3 games in the loss column behind the Twins. I don't think, unless there's some kind of huge collapse by the Guardians, that the Royals are going to finish first. They're still in a good position, though, for the wild card. I'm pretty sure the AL Central is going to have a great chance for 3 playoff teams, and not a lot of people thought that would happen before the season. But the Twins offense just, we talked about Zebby, but the offense was relentless against Lugo, who had not given up more than 6 runs in any start this season. This was a career high for him, 7 earned runs allowed, I think. And my offensive star of the game, it's hard to say. I'm just amazed, though, at how Christian Vasquez has turned his season around. He's been strong behind the plate, much better than Ryan Jeffers on defense. And in the second half of the season, I believe this is correct, he hit another home run, his 7th of the season. He's hitting 378, 429, 703, slashing that in the second half. It's huge for the team. It's huge for him, too. He got off to such a slow start this season after having such a disappointing season last year. And he's been one of the more valuable Twins lately as they continue to hang around. Christian Vasquez has been the man behind the plate, and the Twins would not be in as good a position as they are without him.
There's another way to say it takes a village, but it's actually kind of ironic because they've only had 2 catchers for the last almost 2 years. I don't know if Jair Camargo caught an inning or anything, but for the longest time, the only 2 players who had caught innings for them were Ryan Jeffers and Christian Vasquez. And I have to say, defensively, I have greatly favored Christian Vasquez all season long. I know Jeffers' defense, he's had his moments, especially in years before, but this year he's just been a little, I wouldn't say disengaged or anything, but it's just not been par or up to par. Whereas Vasquez I think he's like 4th in defensive runs saved, and all the metrics seem to love him. And yeah, now that the stick's coming around, I mean, this is a guy who didn't he hit like 24 home runs with the Red Sox in the year of the juiced ball? I mean, he's had offensive success before, so it's not like this is Martin Maldonado breaking out of his shell or anything. But
right.
It's good to see, and it's good to see a guy who just does his job be rewarded. Because if you told me that he would have a slugging percentage of 366 as we prepare to get to the middle of August, I'd have been like, are you sure you're not talking about his OPS based on how, things had gone for a while there? I guess that's probably a Martin Maldonado callback too. But yeah, it just hats off to him. Again, nobody's going to go crazy over 227, 257, 366 as a triple slash, which is where he's at right now. But to know where you are is to know where you've been, and where Christian Vasquez has been compared to where he is now, big difference.
A few other guys had good games. Max Kepler, I think he started out with a couple strikeouts, ended up with 3 hits and driving in 4 runs. Jose Miranda had a really good game, and on defense too. He made a couple of really good plays at third base. There was one where he cut off the shortstop, and that always makes me nervous. And he did a turn and made a strong throw to first, and his shoulder was fine. And he had been in a rut, guys fall into ruts. It really wasn't a slump because it wasn't that long, but I think I added up, he was 2 for 20 in the past 6 games, had 3 hits, including a double, and I think he had a triple. So he was all over the place.
He was the homer shy of the cycle.
Right. That was, usually the triple's the hard one, but great performance there. And, just a replete offensive performance, and it's not knocking the Royals into submission. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm sure they'll bounce back, but the Twins just sort of exercising their will. Now it comes down to, if the Royals want to prevent a sweep, they're in a pretty good position to do so. I think Varland is supposed to start in the finale on Wednesday afternoon.
And Ober will start the opener against Texas.
Right. And Cole Reagan's left-hander on the mound. You'd think that the Royals would be in a good position to stave off a sweep there. I don't know. It's but I wouldn't have expected Lugo to get pounded around.
Kind of weird for a guy to be named Reagans and be a lefty, right?
He started out as a lefty. Everybody remembers Rap Master Ronnie when he was, Mr. Conservative, but he was, he was the head of the union, the actors union in Hollywood at one time, and then he like turned a whole bunch of people into the McCarthy committees. So,
one of my favorite bits is this is getting away from politics because nobody wants to hear that. Is when there's a crazy play Like if there was one the other day, and it was, what was it, 5-2-4 double play or something like that. And I'll say all Twingo prizes have been awarded, and I just do a hashtag of it. Well, back in the day, at the Metrodome, you'd get Twingo cards, and invariably you'd need a 7-6-5-4 double play to finish your Twingo, right? So anytime you get a weird play, I always say that, and because the goofy old board up in left field, like way up in the area where Mark McGuire would maybe hit a ball, would say all Twingo prize
in the dome.
Yeah, back in the old
Walks
days.
will haunt.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yep. It'll say all Twingo prizes have been awarded, so to discard your card and move on with your night. And Christian Vasquez and Kyle Farmer homering on the same night would be a Twingo. All Twingo prizes have been awarded, or a Twingo blackout night would be apt for that as well.
I'm glad you mentioned Kyle Farmer. It was the Royals. Will Smith was on the mound, and let's just say the Twins slapped him around a little bit.
Welcome to Miami.
And a funny thing, Kyle Farmer finally, the man who brought the sausage, finally brought the dong. Hit his first home run of the season. And when
how long you sitting on that? You know what? Nope. I didn't mean to say it like that. How long you been sitting on that one? No.
That's not nice.
Where do we go from there?
We go to the Twins dugout, because when Farmer returned to the dugout, they gave him the silent treatment because, well, he's kind of had a silent season. No, that's not why they gave it to him, because he's the guy they all like, and they waited for a good 30 seconds before they even reacted, and then Vasquez was like,
I love that. No, before we go to break, I actually did this to a guy 2 weeks ago in softball before we went on our vacation, and he's a runner. He actually didn't play last night because he ran in a marathon, but he hit one, and it was real sunny beyond the fence, and he didn't know that it went out, and I kept yelling at him, go, and he rounded the bases and got to third base before he realized that it had gotten out. And in softball, you just turn around and walk back to the dugout as soon as it leaves. So I was messing with him, and he had no idea it got out. He ran full bore to third base. And then he was pretty hot at me, but you know what? That's we don't do hot foot anymore in baseball and softball, so it's the next best thing.
Before we go to break, I want to make sure to get this pun in, because one of my favorite things that I say on Twitter that nobody reacts to is that when Cole Reagans pitches, I do a line from New Jack City, the movie with Wesley Snipes. You got to rob to get rich in the Reagans era, because he's very stingy with the runs. So that's all I wanted to say. I really like to say that on Twitter when he has a good performance, and we'll see if I'll be saying it tomorrow when the Twins go up against Cole Reagans.
Womp womp. That probably wasn't very nice, but Ibotta is nice. And if you're buying all kinds of stuff this summer, like I know I am, and I'm sure Dave is because we both have kids, Ibotta is the place to be. Download the app, and you don't get points. You don't get vouchers. You don't get anything goofy. You get money back in your pocket, and it's pretty much anywhere you shop. They have over 2,400 brands, over 1,000 retailers, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, the kinds of places you go on a regular basis. All you do, you upload your receipt, you select offers, and they give you the bucks. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That can cover a lot of different things: a fancy dinner, a shopping trip, a flight that you've been looking at, maybe getting away for a weekend, that sort of thing. But you can cash out with bank account, PayPal, gift cards. You just add offers again, like I said, upload your receipt, and boom, the money shows up. There's over 50 million users who use Ibotta. You could be number 50,000,001, earning cash back every time you shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying the app using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. So go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA on the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. And of course, who could forget eBay Motors? Passion, drive, and patience are the formula for winning championships and also what keep your ride alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, whether it's a supercharger, roof rack, exhaust kit, LED headlights, or more. Whether you're into speed, power, performance, style, whatever you want, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home that W. So keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only and exclusions do apply, but eBay guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers.
Well, the last thing, or one of the last things, maybe the last thing that I want to talk about, is how the Guardians are back to being the Guardians again. The Cubs are no help. They lost to Cleveland tonight, 2-1. They had a bunch of opportunities. They didn't take advantage of it. But the thing I wanted to focus on was fourth day in a row, Stephen Vogt goes to Emmanuel Clase to close the game. 4 days in a row. Can you imagine? Some people would be really happy if Griffin Jacks or Joan Duran came in for 4 days in a row. You're not going to get Rocco to do that until it's like October. And I swear, and he was fine. He was good. Clase was. That's not the issue. Of course, you go to Clase usually in the ninth inning. Is this ever going to come back to bite? And Hunter Gaddis, Hagrid, as I call him, 3 days in a row himself. Is this ever going to come back to bother the Guardians at all? This overuse of the bullpen? What's going on?
As much as I hate to say it, it does bother me when things that shouldn't work do, and when the long term doesn't catch up when teams use this kind of process. Because the Twins have been a process organization, protect guys, all that, play the long game and platoons. And, Kyle Farmer suddenly with a 188 average, even after homering tonight, it's like, oh, he should be starting against lefties. Well, he's been lousy. And Manuel Margot pinch hitting 0 for 30, whatever. I mean, those all are defensible decisions that should work over the medium to long term. Whereas, burning out your bullpen before you're even midway through August, that should come back to bite you. And yet I have very little confidence that it will, just because I don't know. I keep seeing the Guardians do what they do. And it's like, you just kind of lose faith that the laws of regression apply to them.
They do have the best record in the major leagues. Still,
yeah, just ask their fans on Twitter.
So, I mean, it's worked so far, but
yeah.
With a lead on the Twins and having come back from losing the first 2 games of the series and winning the next 2, I really think like he can't possibly do it again tomorrow, right? Clase for 5 days in a row. That would be managerial malpractice. You can't possibly do it. I don't think he needed to do it today. I mean, there have been games or stretches of games where, Jax has come in for 3 out of 4 days, or maybe 6 out of 9, or something like that. Nice. But Rocco and Pete Mackey have stuck to their guns, and they haven't overdone it. And, we saw, the other day in a save situation, the guy they just picked up off the scrap heap got 3 outs at the end of a game. So,
yeah, Trevor
Richards.
He looks
I couldn't remember his name.
He looks exactly like a guy named Craig in my Twitter feed, and I'll point him out too, and you'll be like, "Holy crap!"
Not Craig the writer, Calcaterra.
No, not Craig the writer, not Craig Goldstein, not Craig. This is this guy Craig that follows me randomly. He's a guy who lives in the Twin Cities, and he looks exactly like him.
Well, we're reaching the end of the road. Stephen Vogt, stop riding your pitchers like they're horses. They're people.
No, keep doing it. I want to see it burn him. I want to see it go as poorly as possible.
So, pitching matchup tomorrow: Jamison Taillon for the Cubs, Alex Cobb for the Guardians. sounds like a Cubs victory, right? So even if Cole Reagans gets the best of the Twins, they still shouldn't lose any ground because the Cubs should beat the Guardians with that matchup, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm ready for, Brian Rocchio to hit a 52-mile-an-hour exit velocity home run. And
I got some Rocchio right
yeah,
here.
Rookie of the Year. I have no faith in
Well, even if that happens, that's how the season's gone, right? The Twins, they lose a game. The Guardians, then they'll lose, So even that we can be cynical about.
It's so
Anyway.
very lockstep, yeah.
Anyway, it's August 13th. We'll see what happens. But, well, for Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown. And this has been Locked On Twins. And we thank you for joining us. And is there something official that we can add, like to the end here that I'm not ready for, obviously? Like, this has been brought to you by, or
that's actually that's a good point. We'll make sure you check out Sully Sullivan on the Locked On MLB podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen. Make him your second listen with Paul Sullivan, not the one from Chicago. He's here daily to provide his national with his trademark humor.
Good.
Yes, exactly. MLB playoffs here in the dog days of summer. So prepare for the fall classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team
every day.
There we go. He found it.
All right, Brandon and Twins fans, this has been Locked On Twins, and we are going to see you.
Tomorrow
night.
Night.
Good night.
Night. Bye.